Hashem na'aseh v'natzliach. This week's Parsha Tesaveh, and we have 2 Adars this year. Mishen Ichnas Adar Marvim V'Simcha. The Bar Torah is recorded for the neshama of my father, Shlomo Chaim ben David. Harene kaparat mishkavo ruach Hashem tenechenu began Eden. The Torah commands us in the beginning of the Parsha, V'ata Tetzaveh, and you shall command the children of Israel that they bring to you pure olive oil, beaten for the light, to cause the lamp to burn always. So we know that in the holy temple, or the Mishkan, the tabernacle, there was a menorah, which is one of the great symbols of the Jewish nation. And the Torah is commanding Aaron and the Kohanim, specifically the Grand Kohen, the Kohen Gadol, to make sure that the menorah is always lit, 24 hours a day. So the question could be asked is, why does the menorah need to be lit on a constant basis, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? God doesn't need our light. God is the source of light to the whole world. So the Midrash says that, of course, everything we do in the temple is symbolic, and of course God doesn't need our light. But it brings a beautiful parable onto why we also always have to give service to the Almighty and light the menorah. There was once 2 people in the parable. One of them was able-sighted and one of them was blind. And the able-sighted person, the regular person, was always doing a favor to the blind person and taking him everywhere. One day when they got home, the able-sighted person told the blind person, "Light for me a light." And he says, "I want you to do this so you don't feel bad inside yourself and feel that you owe me the world. You feel indebted to me. This is a way of giving something back to me." And this is exactly what the service in the temple, and especially the menorah, is. Of course, God is perfect. God doesn't need us necessarily to serve Him. But the menorah is a sign that we, so to speak, should give back, because God gave us everything in the world, all our power, all our wealth. And the Mashkiach of the MiMir learns us such a beautiful lesson about relationships. We know that we should do kindness without expecting anything in return. And that's what this teaches us, that the highest level of kindness is that after you help the person and put him on the right path and make him self-sufficient, we should try as much as possible not to make the person feel inferior and indebted to us. Because this is the highest level of kindness, and this is really why it says in the Ramchal, in Kabbalah, in the Zohar, why God created the world. Nahama Dikisufa. God could have put us straight in heaven, but He wanted us not to have the bread of affliction, like being on Section 8 and getting food stamps and being somebody that doesn't do anything, is totally unproactive and lazy. He wanted us to deserve and own and build our own heaven. And that ultimately is the idea when we help others. When we're godly and help others, we shouldn't be doing it to get something in return. Just like the menorah, God wants us to do something in return for Him, so we don't feel inferior to God, and we feel that the same way He's showering us with blessing, we're also giving Him something in return. Because ultimately, if you do expect people to acknowledge your kindness and have gratitude, unfortunately, many people do not have an attitude of gratitude. And furthermore, they stab you in the back. They take revenge against you. Like the Khatam Sofer says, when people would embarrass him or harm him, he says, "Why are you harming me? I never did you so many favors." Unfortunately, human beings that don't have the capacity to be grateful, they want to take revenge against the person that was kind to them, so they don't feel inferior. So they feel that really the person didn't do any kindness to them. So there's a beautiful story that illustrates what we're talking about. One of the kindest people in the history, last 100 years of the Jewish nation, was Rabbi Aryeh Levin. He was the Tzaddik of Jerusalem. And it says one time in the yeshiva of Eitz Chaim in Yerushalayim, there was one of the rebbes, one of the teachers there had a sick child, and him and his wife would have to split up and stay up the whole night. So people, the neighbors and all the friends found out that this pressure was really wearing and tearing down the parents. So one night Rabbi Aryeh Levine knocks and he says, "Mother and father, go to bed. I'm going to take care of your kids." So he said, "What are you doing here?" He says, "Listen, I have a private conversation to tell my wife and I can't talk in front of my kids. So I'm just coming here to schmooze with my wife. And by the way, I'll take care of your kid till midnight, till you guys could get some rest." And that's the ultimate beauty and genius, that if we're able to help somebody, and in the end, the person shouldn't feel that he's lower than us, that he owes us. This is the ultimate kindness, and we should never regret doing kindness to anybody, because ultimately the reason why we're doing kind is because God said so. And in order to avoid frustration and regret for doing kindness, do not expect anything in return. Rather, just do it for the love of God and to emulate the Almighty. Thank you for watching. Shabbat Shalom.